Russia will not be able to capture the Donbas until the end of 2023. The Kremlin underestimated the strength of Ukrainian resistance, US intelligence stated. Luhansk and Donetsk regions remain priority areas for Russian troops. They storm the settlements of Donbas dozens of times every day.
The main goal of the enemy over the past day was attempts to reach the administrative borders of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. To do this, the occupiers concentrated their main efforts on conducting offensive operations in the Liman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Mariinka and Shakhtarsk directions. Thanks to the professional and well-coordinated actions, our defenders repelled more than 120 attacks by the invaders in the indicated directions.
Bakhmut remains the hottest spot on the front. The Ukrainian army has been defending the city for more than a half a year. In recent months, after the announced big offensive, the Russians have increased the intensity of their attacks.
This week ends the second month since the escalation of the fighting for Bakhmut. No one believed that in the face of such intense enemy attacks it was possible to hold the city for more than a week, a maximum of 2. But thanks to the courage and heroism of thousands of our soldiers, as well as the skillful leadership of our generals and officers, the defense of Bakhmut is holding on and the possibilities have not yet been exhausted. Hanna Maler, Deputy Minister of Defense of Ukraine, on Telegram.
Russia is spending colossal resources to capture Bakhmut. Every meter costs the armed forces of the Federation and the private military company Wagner huge losses, and the Russian military-industrial complex is not keeping up with the pace of the war in Ukraine.
Along with the fact that it is necessary to organize the production of our own weapons systems, difficulties arise against the background of the actual cutting off of the aggressor country from access to technology. Therefore, more and more often the Russian Federation has to resort both to the possibilities of black and grey imports and to put into operation obsolete equipment.
In an attempt to capture Bakhmut, the Russians do not spare their personnel. They use conveyor tactics. That is, instead of the dead, new fighters are immediately sent. Bodies are not taken from the battlefield. In order to restore losses in the ranks of the Wagner mercenaries, by mid-May they plan to recruit another 30,000 mercenaries of the private military company, said Yevgeny Prigozhin, the financier of the Wagner PMC.
Such statements by Prigozhin confirm the information about the unprecedented losses of the Wagner PMC. According to Prigozhin himself, during the battles for Soledar, the losses of the Wagner PMC were cumulative and equaled the losses of the entire occupying army in a week of fighting along the entire length of the front. If we make the minimum threshold about 300 killed during the day, then simple arithmetic makes it clear that during the day of fighting in the Soledar area, the losses of the Wagner PMC are about 2,000.
The Russian army near Bakhmut uses almost all types of weapons available to it, a huge amount of equipment and manpower. But all this did not lead to the occupation of the city. The armed forces of Ukraine continue to defend Bakhmut and do not allow the enemy to move forward.
If 300,000 Russian soldiers have been unable to give Russia a decisive offensive edge in Ukraine, it is highly unlikely that the commitment of additional forces in future mobilization waves will produce a dramatically different outcome this year. Ukraine is therefore well positioned to regain the initiative and launch counteroffensives in critical sectors of the current frontline, from the report of the Institute for the Study of War.
The Ukrainian army is already preparing for a new counteroffensive, which is likely to begin in the spring, Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov said on the anniversary of the start of the full-scale invasion of Russian troops in Ukraine. The pace of liberation of Ukrainian territories will depend on the supply of Western weapons. Reported by Roman Smoler, Valeria Nikipelova, UATV News.